Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and to a brand new reading vlog. Today we are going to be filming a spinning wheel chooses my TBR. This is going to be for a whole week. It is Tuesday, so I'll be going until next Tuesday, preferably. And I have a spinning wheel in front of me with every book that I have on my TBR minus sequels, simply because if it picks a sequel, I'd have to read the first book on it. So it's a very full wheel. We're going to be picking a book for me to read every time I finish a book off of the wheel. I'm very nervous about what the wheel is going to provide me this week, but I'm excited at the same time because picking a TBR is just too hard for my little brain to cope with. So yeah, we're going to do that today. And we're going to dive straight in with picking our first read of the week. Click to spin. I'm so nervous. The first book of the week is going to be a classic. That is so offensive. That is so offensive. Okay, well, I guess the first book we're going to be reading this week is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. Awful. This is so rude of you. Me and this wheel are not friends right now. I'm absolutely positively flabbergasted at this book. So the intro you just watched, I filmed yesterday, and I was like, oh, I'll read The Bell Jar tonight. So I did. I picked it up at 10:30 thinking I'm gonna read a bit before bed, a couple of chapters. I finished the book at 1 a.m. I was then up until 4 o'clock just thinking about it, and I literally just couldn't sleep. I just kept tossing and turning and thinking about this book. I had no idea what this was about. I knew it was about a woman in New York, and that was all I knew. So allow me to tell you, in case you don't already know. We follow Esther, and she kind of starts off in New York. It tells you absolutely nothing in this synopsis. What can I tell you? I mean, I'm going to tell you a bit more than what the synopsis says, just like the themes in the book. So Esther lives in New York, and it's very evident from the first, few pages that she has depression. She's struggling, she is not well mentally, she's not happy in life, even when she thinks she should be, like things that are happening good for her. Her life's going well, she's got a good job with a lot of money, and she's like, well, I have a lot of things happening, like I live in a hotel and I have dinners and free products, but I'm not happy. Then it's a slow descent into madness. And I mean literal madness. It's very dark. There's a lot of trigger warnings for suicide of every kind. Wow, there were so many quotes and beautiful passages. Oh, the quote about the fig tree. The quote about the fig tree. That was... I'm never going to be able to find it in this, am I? When I do find it in the book, I'm going to tab the thing. I think I need to buy a new copy because I don't want to annotate this one. Or maybe I do. But I want to annotate this book on a reread because, wow. I'm not very good at reading out loud, so I'm not going to do this justice. I'm so sorry. But I want to read you this quote so badly. I saw my life branching out before me like the green fig tree in the story. From the tip of every branch, like a fat purple fig, a wonderful future beckoned and winked. One fig was a husband and a happy home and children, and another was a famous poet, and another fig was a brilliant professor, and another fig was E.G., the amazing editor, and another fig was Europe and Africa and South America, and another fig was Constantine and Socrates and Attila. And a pack of other lovers with queer names and offbeat professions. And another fig was the Olympic lady crew champion, and beyond and above these figs were many more figs I couldn't quite make out. I saw myself sitting in the crotch of this fig tree, starving to death, just because I couldn't make up my mind which of the figs I would choose. I wanted each and every one of them, but choosing one meant losing all the rest. And as I sat there, unable to decide, the figs began to wrinkle and go black, and one by one they plopped to the ground at my feet. I think that is the most beautiful thing I've ever read. I do apologise, my sister rung me, but That quote. That quote. Like, it's just so true. Like, life can be so overwhelming with the possibilities that you just don't take any. You're like stuck in stasis. Oh, wow. Wow. Don't know what I interpret from the end, and I've just been thinking about it all night. I just couldn't sleep. I was cleaning my kitchen at 3:30 this morning because I couldn't get to sleep. My mind was running 1,000 miles a minute. So, not a good book to read before bed, but a very, very, very good book. I am amazed. I also was going to do like a mid-book check-in for my books, but I was literally sat there with my reading light in the middle of the night, like, wow. Just couldn't stop. First book of this done, I guess. So I'm going to get up my little spinny wheel. Where is my spinny wheel? Okay. This game really said, let's read the hardest books on your TBR. This is How You Lose the Time War by Amal Emoto and Max Gladstone. No, the one good thing about this is it is super short, but it's 200 pages, but it is a sci-fi, which I'm not very good at reading. However, I believe it was Brews and Reviews, on YouTube, that commented on one of my videos and said that this is actually a lot easier to read than you think. It's more of just a romance with a lot of depth. I'm trying to remember exactly what was said. Whatever it was that was said made me feel a lot better about going into this book. But how can you give me the bell jar and this is how you lose the time war when 90% of my TBR is easy to read romance? How can you do this to me? This wheel? Hateful behaviour. I just woke up. This is so disrespectful. I had barely any sleep, and this is what I have to read. I just don't want to talk about it. I'm hoping I can read this in one sitting because it is short, but again, I have no idea how this is going to go for me. So I'll let you know when I've started reading and my thoughts. At least I'll have less hard books on my TBR after this. Thanks, Wheel. It is now Friday, so it's been a few days. When did I update you? Wednesday. I think I pulled this. And I did read some on Wednesday. I think I got to like page 60 something. But then it kind of like a very, very mini slump. Like for Thursday, I was like, I do not want to read a word. Like this is just too hard. But I have picked up a little bit more today and I've got to page 74. This is something I've never really read before. So you read a passage about one of our main characters, Blue or Red. And then during that passage, they find a letter from the other person, but it's told in a weird way. Like somebody finds a letter through a teapot. It's like in the teapot. And then the other person finds a letter in a piece of, like not a letter in the teapot, like the tea tells you the letter. And then like someone else found a piece of cloth, and then the stitches in the cloth, they were feeling them and it was giving them a letter. It's very interesting. Blue and Red are not quite humans, but I don't really know what they are. Just an alien species that are writing letters to each other and are growing a friendship that's developing slowly through the book. I love their dynamic together. I think that it is very sweet. I like how they talk to each other. I like the romantic element. And I like the stories. It's very all over the place because it kind of messes with time. Like 1 minute you're at the end of Earth, and then at another minute you're at Atlantis drowning. Like it's very weird. But I'm trying to just come to accept it. My biggest issue with this is, we all know on this channel, if you've watched me before, I don't like pretentious books. I don't like pretentious writing. I don't read any books that win like the Pulitzer Prize because I don't like it. I don't like the Man Booker Prize. Is it Pulitzer Prize? That's a book award, isn't it? Basically, if a book has won a big prestigious award, I won't read it because that means it's not my thing. This is very much that. The writing in this is barely giving English. I need a degree to read this book. And not my degree, a different degree. I needed a degree on just this book. Because every sentence is like a workout for my brain, trying to understand what it's saying. And I think most of it is using English words that I've never seen in a sentence together before. And I know a lot of people would probably read it and be like, oh, it's so beautiful. I love the way the language is used. That's not me. I read a book for a good time, not for a hard time. So I am trying my best. I can't say I'm liking this book, but I can say that I'm enjoying it more than I expected. But more often than not, I have no idea what's going on and I have a headache. Like, I literally just read 12 pages or something like that and I have a headache from said 12 pages. But I'm going to go and get a drink and get a coffee and I'm going to try and sit down and read some more. But no wonder this is so short. It's because it's so difficult. I can understand why people like the book, but I don't understand how there isn't more people not liking it. It's definitely making me feel stupid, which is fine. I don't really mind. But I just don't like a book that makes it hard to read it. And I feel like this is purposely trying to make it hard to read. But I did think I was going to DNF it at first. Like the first 30 pages, I was like, this is awful. This is absolutely terrible. Like there is no way people like this. But then I think as I've gotten on, even though my feelings haven't changed in regards to, I don't think we need to be writing this way. It's like someone took a thesaurus and changed every other word. I love the dynamic between red and blue. And I love the like snippets of, like at one point, instead of saying Dear Blue, they use like the color title for blue, you know, 00FF or something, and then they explain it in the letter. I love things like that. And it's the things that I do understand that I'm like, oh wow, that's amazing. And I reckon if you were somebody who maybe if you study literature and you love to dive into a book and really dissect it, this would be a great one for you. I'm not that person. I want to read my fantasies and my romances and just enjoy my life. I'm the same with movies. I always use this movie as an example. After Sun, it ended and I was like, but you didn't tell me anything. There was no story because you just didn't bother. Whereas everybody loves that movie. It's the same thing. It's like, tell me a story, don't make me work for the story. But being fair to the book, I am still intrigued by the romance / just the connection. I just wish it was written differently. I just need someone to read it to me in lame terms. But yeah, I really want to finish this today because tomorrow I'm hoping to do some live sprints on the channel because it's Saturday and I would really like to be reading a different book because I feel like if I'm reading this on sprints, I'm going to be like, what's happening? And people are going to be looking at me like, are you well? Because I'm going to be so confused. Basically, my feelings are all over the place with this book. Who would have guessed? I'm literally on the floor in the office because I was reading before bed. My light's still on, hang on. I was reading a bit more before bed and I just had to come and talk to you about it because this looks ridiculous. I've not changed my mind so far. So far, I still don't like the writing and like it's just not for me. But I understand that some people are gonna like it. But I feel like the more I embrace that I just don't understand it, the more I like it. But every time I embrace the thing that I don't understand, something else happens. Like you learn something new about one of the characters and you're like, hang on. I want to read you some quotes. I think they're spoiler free, but I'm going to be completely honest. Because I have no idea what anything means, it may not be spoiler free. I don't really know. Few things do, you know, belong to me. In garden, we belong to one another in a way that obliterates the term. We sink and swell and bud and bloom together. We infuse garden. Garden spreads through us. But garden dislikes words. Words are abstraction, break off from the green. Words are patterns in the way fences and trenches are. Words hurt. I can hide in words so long as I scatter them through my body. To read your letters is to gather flowers from within myself. Pluck a blossom here and a fern there. Arrange and rearrange them in a way to suit a sunny room. Don't know what it means, but it sounds phenomenal. And then we also have this sentence, which just made me come in here to talk to you. My memories of you spread through millennia. Now, I know it's the most simple sentence you've ever heard, but it's just, it doesn't need to be flowery. It's beautiful. Because this is a time-passing book, like a time-messing book. Oh, So I'm at page 96. I'm literally like just on halfway-ish. I think there's like 100 pages left exactly. Hopefully I can finish this now tonight. I really, really want to be finished with this tonight. Because as I said to you, Lilia, I have sprints and I do not want to be reading this on my sprints. But yeah, I stick by what I said in terms of like, I don't like this writing style. It's too pretentious. And like not even in like just little chunks, but like permanently pretentious to the point where I just don't understand what's happening. But there's just some moments that these characters just fuel something in me. They make me feel things and I love them. So yeah, I have to come and tell you that in the middle of the night on my office floor. I'm gonna go back to my room now. Goodbye. Hello. Do you see this mouth? It's about to eat its own words. I'm finished. I'm going to start by saying, do I understand this book? No. Are the words I said earlier true? Yes. The writing is overly pretentious for absolutely no reason. There is no reason for this to not make any sense. However, once you lean into the fact that you know you're not going to understand this book and you just accept that it's written the way that it's written, with some beautiful paragraphs, let me just say, some beautiful quotes, maybe it's a good book. I did say earlier on that the dynamic between red and blue was very interesting. And I think what I failed to understand was the fact that that is only what's important about this book. Because I was trying to understand what the bits before were. Like I was trying to be like, well, why do I need to know about this scenario? I don't understand it because of the way it was told. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's just about red and blue. And I will say, I looked up, once I finished it, I was looking on Goodreads because I really can't decide what I want to rate it. Everybody, even the people giving it 5 stars, was saying like, nobody's going to understand this book. You just have to like enjoy it. And so the fact that I'm not alone in not understanding it makes me feel so much better. I think my rating on this one is falling to a 3.5 for now. However, I have 100% full intentions of rereading this from the beginning. And I think upon a reread, including some annotation, some highlighting, some writing in this book, I think this could be a favourite book of all time. I said it. I think this could be like a 5 stars. Always want to reread book. So I think I'm giving it a 3.5 rounded up to a 4, simply because I really didn't like this at the beginning. I really didn't like it. So I can't just sit there and go, oh yeah, 5 stars, because I didn't like half of the book, or at least a third of the book. So that just feels very disingenuous of me. So I'm going to give it a 3.5 rounded to a 4, you know, between that area. But I just want it to be so well known that I reckon I'll be reading this before the year is up. I will be getting all my little annotation notes out and I will be enjoying this from the beginning. Yeah, see, I'm reading that first page again. The one that I was so baffled by. It took me about a minute and a half to read this page, which is not like me. And I didn't understand it, and now I've just read it and I kind of get it. I feel like it's just one of those books that takes a long time to get into the writing style. It's very unusual. It doesn't set up anything. So a reread for me is going to be everything. And I'm really excited to do that reread. I actually just want to reread it now. However, like, my rating is not reflecting my current enjoyment of it because of how much I disliked it at the beginning. But I must say, I do eat my words. I'm so sorry that I said this book wasn't good. I'm sorry, I was wrong. Now, in terms of would I recommend this book? Yes. Yes, I would. However, some things to note. This is, okay, yes, it's a sci-fi, as I've been saying, but barely. Barely. It is a romance with peculiar elements. Do those elements matter? No. Just focus on the fact that there are two people, forbidden romance. Even Romeo and Juliet is mentioned in here, and it's very Romeo and Juliet-esque, you know, two rival sides destined to be together, hiding their relationship. That's exactly what it is. The ending, the way things were written, the beauty and the pain, and the way I was sucked into these characters, it is the most, it's brilliant. And I feel like it's such a good viewpoint on war and people. I feel like both books I've read, The Bell Jar and this in this video, have been just such thought-provoking stories. Like, I couldn't sleep after reading The Bell Jar. I have no idea how I'm going to sleep after reading this. Like, I truly feel baffled. I was talking about if I recommended this or not. I'm so sidetracked. Yes, but please be aware going in, you are not going to understand it straight away. You'll probably never understand the writing wholly, fully. That's okay. It may be a short book. It is not going to be a quick read, unfortunately. It is going to take you a little while, but it is beautiful. It is mesmerizing. It is soul feeding. Is that even a thing? I feel like my soul has been fed by this book. And the more I think about it, the more I like it. Both times I've spun this wheel and I've been disappointed in my pick. And both times I've been so pleasantly surprised. And I've read books I probably wouldn't have gotten to for years to come. Like the fact that Bell Jar took me 3 years to pick up. 2 years. 2 years to pick up. This I got in like, I don't even know. The last time I went to Hay on Wye, which maybe months and months ago, let's just say. I wanted to spin the wheel in the morning because I thought like it'd be nicer to do it then. But now I just really want to know what I'm reading. Let's just spin the wheel and find out. I love that I'm doing this while looking like this with the world's most fuzziest and terrible lighting. Okay, we have the wheel. Let's spin. I'm so nervous, even though the wheel has not done me wrong yet. Part of Your World. Okay, shh. Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that is the perfect read for me right now. I've had 2 really deep reads and now I'm gonna have a nice romance read. Everybody loves this book. I recently picked it up and I have the sequel. I think it's like a companion sequel. So I'm so excited to pick that up. Oh, yay! Okay, I just filmed an update and apparently I filmed it in like time-lapse mode. So I hope that this clip is fine. I'm lucky I noticed. I wanted to give you an update because I started Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez on my reading sprints this morning, which I just finished. And I wanted to give you an update because I didn't want to just come back and say I finished. I've got to page 210, so I've got about 160 pages left. So, you know, over midway, but still within the midway region. And I just want to say thank you to this wheel. This right now is a 5-star. So let's just hope it continues this way, because then the wheel would have given me 2 5 stars and a potential future 5 stars that is currently sitting at a 4. This wheel is giving me life. So we follow Alexis, who is a doctor and lives in the city, and then we follow Daniel, who is a carpenter slash B&B owner in a very small village 4 hours away from Alexis. Alexis meets him one night and he tows her car out of a ditch. They end up having a one-night stand. And it goes from there where they just kind of can't stop seeing each other, and so they travel to see each other. Well, Alexis travels to see Daniel. But Alexis is dealing with pressure from her family and a toxic ex, and Daniel is dealing with the fact that, you know, he has to make some money. I love the discussions of money in this because obviously they are of very different financial status. And I think it's dealt with so well. So far, these characters give me absolute life. Daniel is my new book boyfriend. He is incredible. She comes to visit him and he gets a cheese and wine basket made for her and takes her to a drive-through cinema that was closed. So he gets it opened just for her and they sit and eat their cheese basket together. I love this man. I love this village. I love everything right now. So yeah, I finished Sprint's mid-chapter, so I'm gonna go finish my chapter. I love this book. I definitely feel a 5-star coming here. I understand why everybody's obsessed with this. They are so right. I finished Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez and I absolutely adored this book. My only single criticism of this book is it is a touch on the too long side. Like, just a touch. Like, I feel like because our couple have a one-night stand at the beginning of the book, you kind of see their relationship never really like grow into a relationship. It's permanently romance from the beginning, which I absolutely loved and I did not think I'd like. But I feel like as a result, with the drama, the like conflict started like really early on in the book, like just over halfway, and it went until the end of the book, but it was done in a very slow progressive way, but it did start to make it feel just a little too long. Like maybe even just 20 pages less of conflict would have been perfect. I absolutely love Alexis and Daniel as a couple. I love the small town. I love the difference between the two of them. I loved how it all ended. I don't like her brother at all. Like, I understand the principle of, oh well, he left, he chose happiness, but he had no right to just leave his sister and never ring her. And like, you can say, okay, there's 12 hours difference, but it's his sister. You have the capability. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that cheesed me right off. So I don't like him. And I was really nervous that there was going to be a book on him. And from what I've checked, there isn't. And I won't be reading it if there is, because I hate him with my whole being. I really like this book. I really liked how it ends. Probably my favourite romance I've ever read, which is big words, I'm not going to lie. But I absolutely love this. With every fibre of my being. It's so good. And Abby Jimenez's writing is so good and so real. Like, it's not cringe. Yeah, I just have so many good things to say about this. It is Saturday, so I have time to read another book. So let us get the spinny wheel. And please give me another brilliant read. I'm trusting in this wheel now. Okay, we have the wheel. I'm nervous. I'm nervous every time I spin this wheel. Well, that couldn't have gone worse, could it? Well, I now have to read The Awakening as Told by the Boys, which is basically the first Zodiac Academy book retold from a different point of view. I had no intentions of reading this until I reread the series, probably in a couple of years, if I'm being honest. So the fact that it has picked this destroys my soul. Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure I'm going to like it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a really good read, because I loved the first book and I love Zodiac Academy. And I feel like I was getting really over the series, so it'd be probably quite good for me to pick it up and like remember why I like it. But that was not my vibe for the weekend. That was absolutely not my vibe. Alright, fine. I guess I'll read the Awakening again. I'm bitter about it though. I just checked my Goodreads and this is the oldest book on my TBR. I got it in January of 2022. So I'm actually like, as much as I hate that it's picked this, because I really do, I'm so glad that it picked this as well, because my oldest book on my TBR will be gone. And the next book on my TBR wasn't until April of 2022, and it's Pandora. So the fact that like that'll be read will be really satisfying to me. So I guess I'm glad it got picked, and I know I'm gonna like it. So it's like a guaranteed win, you know? I just don't want to read a thick ass book that's 600 pages that I've already read before from a different POV. I just did that last week with A Soul of Ash and Blood. I don't want to do it again. It is Tuesday, and I'm here to wrap up the vlog and let you know that I finished Zodiac Academy: The Awakening as Told by the Boys. I finished this last night, but it was about 2 a.m, so I went to bed. Exactly as I predicted. I enjoyed the story. I thought it was fun, you know, I had a good time. But again, exactly like my last vlog where I read A Soul of Ash and Blood, I don't really love retellings of the same story but from a different POV. It doesn't really do that much for me personally, so that was kind of the scenario with this. I think my enjoyment mostly came from the fact that I really enjoyed revisiting the beginning of this series. Where we are in this series now, I'm up to book 8. It's painful, it is dark, it is a very different dynamic to what it is in the beginning of this series that obviously this book follows. And so I much more appreciated the calmness in this. And it was really weird to see the characters be interacting with each other the way they do in this book, because obviously it starts off as a bully romance. Well, actually, it just starts off as bully, full stop, really. But as you go through the series, that becomes less prevalent. I really enjoyed it for what it was. Had a good time. 3 stars. And yeah, I can't complain. So that is the end of my Spinny Wheel Chooses My TBR for the week. So first of all, we picked up The Bell Jar, which was a 5-star. Then we picked up How to Lose the Time War, which was a 3.5 to a 4. I think I ended up giving it a 4. And again, I really enjoyed. Part of Your World, we gave a 5 stars. Those 2 5 stars this week. And then we had Zodiac Academy as Told by the Boys, which was a 3-star and was also the oldest book on my TBR. So I got rid of 3 really old books on my TBR and 1 new one. And I am so happy with those results. I plan on making the Spinny Wheel a permanent feature of my channel, at least for a while. I think I'm going to do Spinny Wheel Chooses My NetGalley reads next, because I have a lot of NetGalley arcs that I need to get through. The concept of just not picking my own TBR, it just takes so much pressure off me, and obviously this week it has been such a success. Not one bad book. So I am so happy. I'm taking today to just read a book I want to read. I'm reading Free Me, the last book in the Winstack series, and I'm very happy about it. But I'm going to be starting my new vlog tomorrow, which is going to be reading sequels for a week. So tune in next time to see that if you are interested. And thank you so much for watching this one. I've had a brilliant time, and I shall see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.